everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I have decided to do another Funko Pop figure. This is a custom one that I'm actually making as a gift for my friend. Now as you can see, before I even start actually making the pop figure, I usually like to draw up a little sketch of what I want it to look like and what I envision it to look like, because I really like to use a reference to go off of so that I can make sure it actually looks like what I plan to. So for this little sketch here, I'm just using my markers and my fine liners just to do a nice little color sketch of the figure. And yeah, just make sure all of the features that I want on this character are down and you know how I like it. So now this pop figure here I am making is of a person called Shockmouse. He has a YouTube channel and he's been a good friend of mine for a little bit, and yeah, I don't know, I just thought that it would be a fun little pop figure to make, and also, you know, as a nice gift to someone who will appreciate it. So now here we have a pop figure male base. Now I got these online from a store. You know, a lot of people ask me where I get it from, but to be honest, it depends where you're going to get it from, as if, you know, because if you're in Australia where I am, obviously you'll probably want to get it from an Australian store, or if you're in the US or UK, you probably want to get one from over there. So I can't really help everyone out where to get them, because sometimes, you know, what the best is for me isn't always the best for other people. So yeah. So I'm using Fimo polymer clay to sculpt this now, and I have to say one thing: the Fimo, when you first get it, it's very, very hard and stiff, and you know, not malleable, very unlike a clay. But I was actually looking up ways to soften it, because a lot of people say with polymer clay you can use baby oil or something like that, or heat it up. But to be honest, Fimo is a tiny bit different to Sculpting, which is another brand of polymer clay, in that it's not exactly oil based like Sculpting is. It apparently mineral based, which I have no idea what that means. However, the benefit of using Fimo is that you can actually soften it with water. So yeah, when I was trying to get it, you know, to actually turn into a clay that I can use, I actually dipped my fingers into a little bit of water, you know, and just put a tiny bit of that on the surface, and that actually made it a lot easier to sculpt. Now as you can see, the footage here isn't the best, but I tried to get it as good as I can. So yeah, I actually started off with the hair. Now with this hair probably took me the most amount of time for this figure, as I really wanted to capture the look of the character that I was trying to portray. And so I guess I had to roll out lots of little sausages, roll out little snakes, you know, like you used to do when you're playing with Play-Doh. Lots of little tiny lines of polymer clay, and basically I just put them all individually onto the figure and tried to place them in a way that looked how I wanted it to. And it's funny because the figure actually looks a little bit funny at the moment, because I had planned to put a hat on this character. As you can see right now, I'm just stuffing the top part of the hat full of foil, and it actually looks like the character's bald, so you know, that's funny, haha. But yeah, the reason why I actually stuffed the hat full of foil is that with polymer clay you don't always want it to be solid clay. For one thing, it's a waste and this stuff is very expensive, but another thing, you don't want it too solid because the inside might not, you know, cook. I don't know, I'm just guessing that. But a lot of people use you know, foil on the inside of things as a base, and yeah, it's actually really, really helpful. Now I do have to say one thing, the brim for his hat that he's wearing, I actually baked that separately and first before I baked anything else, and that was mainly because I really wanted that brim to be flat, because it's kind of like the snapback style hat. So I wanted it to be nice and flat, and I was worried that if I put it in the oven like that, it would just droop down and look terrible. So I actually baked that first, and then I guess the brim got another baking when the whole thing went in the oven. So now after I did the hat and the hair, I just made sure I got little eyebrows, because that's what the character looks like. And yeah, actually, once I got all that done, I baked it in the oven. Now, people ask me, can you bake the faces? Yes, you can. I have done it multiple times now, and no issue, as long as you don't make it too hot. I usually like to bake them for about 30 minutes at a temperature of 110 degrees Celsius, which is 230 degrees Fahrenheit for those American people watching. And yeah, so now that it is fully baked, it's prime time. And that means I need to add some primer, which I'm using Gesso, just so that the paint will go down nicely. So now that I've got that base down, I'm actually starting on the skin. Now I'm actually learning from mistakes previously, because I did make a pop figure for Jazza, and that video is the most popular video on my channel. It is crazy, and I really appreciate that. But I did make a few mistakes with that pop figure. One of them was that the skin color wasn't exactly perfect. Also, I ran out of skin and skin color paint, and I tried to mix the same color and it did not work. So I had to actually go over the whole thing again. But with this one, I really did not want that to happen. So what I actually did was I got a little container, an airtight container, and I mixed a large amount of the perfect skin tone that I wanted to use. And I basically tested that out as well, let that dry on a piece of paper to make sure that it was the right tone, because with acrylic paints they tend to change the color a little bit when they dry. But yeah, I actually got it to the right color that I wanted to use, and then I painted it down on the figure. And it was really good because since I did that, I was able to afterwards go over any parts that I accidentally got paint on. And yeah, those were actually really easy to cover up and fix. And because it was the exact same paint, it blended in perfectly, and there was no imperfections that I could tell. Now one thing, another mistake that I made in this pop figure is that I had originally written down the text on his hat in gel pen, and I thought, the gel pen, I looked it up, and apparently it was not waterproof but water resistant. So I thought, yeah, if I lightly put a little bit of varnish down, it won't smear it, I don't think. And that was wrong. That was a mistake. It smeared it instantly. It looked terrible. So I basically had to wait for that to dry and to paint over it with black, and then do the paint with black, the text on his hat. But that was no problem, because I ended up getting it nicely, and yeah, it turned out alright. I think I actually put the text a little bit better the second time, so you know what? I'm not mad that happened. Another thing which I improved over the last pop figure was that I used a gloss varnish in the first one, and I did not realize how glossy that one was. He was a shiny boy. Jazza obviously doesn't mind, he still loves the figure a lot, but for this time I wanted to use a matte varnish on the pop figure and use a gloss varnish on the eyes, just on the eyes, so that they look slightly different. And that actually turned out really nicely, and it was a big improvement from the last time. So you know what, I'm actually learning new things and improving these figures, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Now for the paint that I'm using here, I am using my Sonjas matte fluid acrylic paints. These are the exact same paints from the exact same set that I used last time, and they are really, really good paints. I actually got them for the first pop figure, which was well over a year ago, and I've actually used them in multiple little paintings that I've done since then, and they're so vibrant and lovely and beautiful, and I won't stop raving on about them because they're just, I don't know, they're my favorite paints, I guess. So yeah, now most of the colors are down. I'm just going over little bits here and there which I can fix up and, you know, improve little bits here and there, you know. And obviously that text on the hat, as I said before, I said that earlier in the video, but I should have said that part now. You know, whatever. So yeah, now that most of all the painting is done, and I'm just putting that matte acrylic varnish down, and that's pretty much it. Now I do want to say I made this as a gift for my friend, and I actually decided to, with his permission of course, include the clip of him reacting to it. I have to say, his reaction to me giving this figure to him, because I've already given it to him, was so great. Mitch, you did great. So now I just want to say one thing. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this type of video, make sure you hit like and subscribe. I will definitely be doing more videos like this in the future. Not exclusively though. I mainly do illustration, and you know, I will be doing a lot more of them than pop figures, because to be honest, they're a little bit expensive to make because I have to buy all of the necessary resources for pop figures. But anyways, here is the final result, and I am so happy with this. I think the pop figure is so cute and it fits in pretty well with the other pop figures here. So yeah, make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Now here's the reaction part. I just want to film your reaction. It's not the start of the video, it's the end of the video.
Oh, it's the end of the video?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't think, just fucking chill.
Here you go.
I figured it out. Ah! Holy fuck! I figured it out like 20 seconds ago. And I was like, oh my god.
How good does it look?
That's pretty cool. Did you do this because... so did you base this on the avatar?
Yes.
Avatar?
Yeah, a little bit on the avatar, but also like on you, kind of.
How long did this take?
Not that long.
Because you didn't tell me why I was coming over. I thought it was for this prick here,
No.
Yeah.
Jesse. Then, and then you're like, no, it's actually for Sarah's channel. I was like, oh, yay, cool. I like Sarah's channel.
You've been in enough of my videos.
And then it was, oh, this has nothing to do with Jesse. And I'm like, oh.
Oh shit.
And then I was just thinking, I'm
it's an
like,
actual
wait a minute, she
something
did one of
serious.
these for Jazza. And I was like, I bet that's what it is. And then I was like, I bet not say, because if I say, I bet you made a pop, and then you're like, I baked a cake or something. Wow. Thank you.
Because it kind of matches.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do I take this home, or does it stay
Yeah,
here?
No, that's yours.
Gift.